Well, hey. Welcome. Tony Talks here, back to encourage. Let me move this water bottle out the way. Back to encourage, inspire, and motivate you to do what? I'm motivating you to become a better you. That is the whole purpose of Tony Talks. Okay, so we get started with deep breathing because it's good for you. All right, we do 4 counts in, we do 4 counts out, and we do it 3 times. So let's go. Our first one. And out, my dog over here doing it too. Our second one. And then our final one. And out. Well, hope you all had a wonderful weekend. It has come and gone so fast. Time is not waiting. Good morning to all my beautiful souls. Good morning, cousin. Thank you for coming on in. And so we're going to do something a little bit different on today. We're first going to start with our celebration. So if you have any celebrations, anything that you have celebrated over the week, or over the week, put it in the comments. Good morning, Miss Kane. Put it in the comments. We're doing our celebrations first. But while you all are putting your celebrations down there, I want to talk about something that was impressed upon me on today, which was prayer. I was on a prayer line today. And so I remember back, I want to say probably 2014-ish or so, when I didn't really know how to pray. I was afraid to pray. And so I would get on a prayer line that my church had. And it was just encouraging, because we know where two or more are gathered. Good morning, sister. Where two or more are gathered, then their God is in the midst. So if you do not know how to pray, or if you do, I have a number for you all. It's the 1st through the 21st, and today was fire. Fire. My producer spoke the word on there today, and man, I seen her in a different light. And so, if you want to get on this prayer call, you do not have to say anything. You can listen in. It just helps strengthen you. It just helps you as you are going through different things in life. And today, they were talking about distractions. And so we all in this social media realm, right? A lot of us tend to be distracted. And so it hit me, right? It hit me. And I think that you all could benefit from it as well. So if you want to join the prayer line, it's the 1st through the 21st. I have the number to where you can just get on. And again, you don't have to say anything. You just listen in and God will meet you there. Okay? That's that. All right. So if you want the number, you can inbox me, or we can put the number in the comments so you all can actually go on there. So let's go to our celebrations for the week. Celebrations. I don't see y'all putting no celebrations down there. I have one. I have one big one. We all have some celebrations. I don't care how small they seem, but my celebration was, so I started this class. It's a steppers class, and I say I have 2 left feet. So last week was okay. I felt motivated. I felt encouraged and inspired. And then this week was, because it's always building on top of each other, and anything building on top of each other, your brain is trying to process. And sometimes I tend to over process. And so it was more difficult, more difficult for me. And so I was ready to quit. And I am proud to say that I did not quit. I was ready to quit, walk out, and not come back. But I stayed. And I'm grateful that I did, because I ended up being able to work through this one piece that was a difficult thing for me to understand in my brain. So I stayed, and then I felt much better because I was able to work through that. So that may seem small to you, but it was big to me. Oh, yes. My sister here, Jackie Kane, stepped out on faith and started a ministry. She is a powerhouse. If you want to, you can catch her on Facebook. Right now, it's on Facebook, The Experience Ministry. Or you can just go to her page, and you can find out more details about when it's going to be, actually, when she's going to have her ministry days. She's pretty much on there every day. But what we want to celebrate, can y'all give her some hand claps? Can y'all give her some whoo whoo, whatever you can on Facebook for stepping out on faith? That's not an easy thing to do, to step out. If you walk in faith, anybody who walks in, man, trust in God, right? If you know what that's like, y'all will put some hand claps up there. Y'all would throw some praise. Y'all would be celebrating her. Good morning, Nita. All right. So, anybody else with any celebrations before we move forward? Thank you for putting your, just, it can be, like I say, something small. It can be something that you may not even think that really is a celebration or celebration worthy, but it is. Okay, thank you. We have the prayer line there, the access code, and it is 5:30 Central Standard Time, 6:30 CD, nope, EDT time. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank y'all for celebrating her. Yes. That is something huge to step out and start a ministry. We're going to just cover her and send nothing but God's grace and his mercy to be upon her in this endeavor. And he's going to take her to great and mighty places that she can't even think or even imagine. All right. So we're going to get started today. So we usually do Motivational Monday. And this is going to be motivational as well, but I decided, because it is Mental Health Awareness Month, let's do some mental health awareness. And so we're starting with narcissistic personality disorder, NPD. If you see that NPD, we are talking about narcissistic personality disorder. And so I do have to do a lot of reading because I can't memorize all this. And so we're going from the DSM-5. And so this is just to let you know, because there's a lot of talk, a lot of stuff going around about NPD, narcissism. I hear so many different things that people talk about. They're a narcissist, and don't really know what a narcissist is. So instead of, this is very key, because instead of us just calling people narcissists, let's know what we really talking about first. And so that's why this is so important. So we can say, if you hear somebody or see a meme and they're talking about narcissists and they're saying these things, you will know for yourself if it's accurate or not. Okay. And so for the purpose of today, I am not here to call anybody out. Originally, that's what I was going to do. I was going to call some people out, but the Holy Spirit said, no, you're not. You're going to do what I have told you to do. And so it is just basically to tell you what NPD is. It's not to point the finger at nobody else, because if I point the finger at somebody else, I'm pointing back at me. And so, that's not what it's about. It's just to show you what it really is. So let's get started with this. If y'all have any questions, feel free to put your questions there. And so the DSM is it's clinical. So it is really made for the therapist. So I kind of ebonically broke it down a little bit, because if I read it the way that it says it, you probably wouldn't understand it. Okay. So I looked these words up just so you know that it is backed by the dictionary and it is just not Tony Talk saying this. Okay. So MPD, the diagnostic criteria for MPD. One, it's a pervasive pattern of grandiosity. So let's define that: pretentiousness or self absorbed, right? So if you hear that word grandiosity, that means that person is very self absorbed. In fantasy, which is imagination or behavior, they have a need for admiration and lack of empathy. Lack of empathy is one of the greatest definitions or underlining tenets of MPD, that lack of empathy. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more, what the lack of empathy, how that shows up, because that is one of the things that even when I tell you all nine of the criteria, you're going to see lack of empathy underneath every single one of these. Okay. So need for admiration, lack of empathy, and this begins by early adulthood. What's early adulthood? Typically in your teens, okay? That you will start seeing these things show up, and they will show up on a regular basis in this person and present in various contexts. So we're going to look at nine. There are nine of these criteria, right? And so in order to be diagnosed, you need to have five or more. But the thing about it is, one thing I'm learning, if you have any of these, you're gonna need to do some work, right? So when I looked at this, there were some things that I saw within myself. What that means is you need to do some work. It's not just about a diagnosis, it's about seeing yourself. And if you have any of these criteria, it's work involved. Okay, so let's get started. But if you have five or more, I ain't here to diagnose you. You diagnose yourself, right? If after I go over all nine of these, you see that, ooh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, okay. I could be diagnosed with MPD, then just start working on what you see. And typically, you're going to need one, you're going to need prayer, right? You're going to need to invite God in to help you to be able to start working on some of these things to really see. Because when I looked at this yesterday, it hit me like a ton of bricks. And so my eyes was wide open about myself. And he was like, yeah, you got some work to do. So I'm a therapist that still needs therapy. Okay. Don't be ashamed if you need help. If you need help in any area, get the help that you need so you can become better. And that is what I'm talking about today. So you can become better, right? And I can become better. Okay. Number one, has a grandiose, so again, self absorbed or impressive. They like to make impressions or self importance, right? Feel like they are above others, like have a self importance above anybody else. They tend to exaggerate their achievements and talents and expect to be recognized as superior. So that's number one. Let's do it one more time. Has a grandiose, self absorbed, impressive sense of self worth. That's basically what it's saying. And it's funny because their self-worth is not, it's imagined. So they really don't have a good sense of self. It is an imagination of them. They may see somebody else and they imagine themselves being at that same level as somebody else, as that other person. But inside of them, they don't feel that, if that makes sense. Their feeling of who they are is low. It's like a low self-esteem, but they, in their imaginations, can see themselves at a higher place or feel like they should be at a higher place. Okay, so that's one. Number two is preoccupied with imaginations, of unlimited success, right? They feel like they're just great in everything that they do. They feel like they're just excessively powerful, like they're a genius. They're beautiful beyond the norm. Um, and they have a thought of perfect love. So, not just regular love, and we're going to talk about this in a minute, not just regular love, or regular love kind of gets, you have those moments where they kind of equal out. A person who has NPD gets bored very easily and is constantly looking for an up. They're constantly, because their need of admiration, they're looking for something to take them to that next high. That's how I call it. It's like a high that they're chasing after. Okay, let's do it one more time. So, number two is preoccupied with fantasies or imaginations of unlimited or great success, power, genius, beauty, and ideal love. So, that perfect love. Number three, believes that he or she is special, exceptionally great and above others, and unique, and can only be understood or should associate with other people who are great, and at that level where they are just exceptional. That's who they want to associate with. And even when they go, if they do go to college, they're going to feel like, I deserve to be in the best institution, the Ivy League. And it really ain't in here, right? But they have a perceived notion that that's where they need to be because they are so special. Good morning. Good morning to all of you who have joined. Okay, so that's number three, feelings of special, exceptional greatness, putting self above others. So, do y'all see the empathy in each one of these? Lack of empathy, no empathy. It's all about I, which equals pride, I, which equals everything surrounds around them, right? So that is, you're going to see that heavy in someone who has NPD. It's going to be everything is going to surround around them. You may be there, but you're there so they can use you, so they can suck you dry and make themselves of more importance. Okay. Number four, they require excessive. And when I say excessive, everything in that relationship is going to be around them. Admiration, if they're in a relationship. They tend to have people around them all the time. One, because they feel they're special and that they need to have that crowd. So they're going to pull from different people in that crowd for them to feel special, that admiration, for you to pour into them, for them to be the center of attention. Okay, so they're going to have a crowd in some type of way. There are some, so NPD can be a little, it has some differences where you can have one who is kind of introverted, but what that introvert, how that introvert will show up is they will play victim. And so if they play victim, it's not that grandiose type thing. It is more the victim where they're pulling on you to keep pouring into them, right? I I did this and blah blah blah, and everything is going to be around them, and you're constantly pouring, and you're not getting nothing back from them. That could be, I'm not saying specifically, but that could be someone who is an introverted MPD. And you don't see that a whole lot. You see more of the grandiose style, but there are some introverted narcissists as well. So requires, number four, requires excessive admiration. If you're always looking for praise, if you always have to be the center of attention, if you need adulation, which is flattery at all times, right? You walk in, oh, the party don't start until you get there. I've said that about myself. If you are the one who have to be the center of attention, all praise has to be on you. That's number four. All right. Number five. has a sense of entitlement. Like they are just inherently deserving of everything. Okay. It all, yeah, I'm entitled. I'm quite sure we all have been around somebody who is entitled or feel like they just deserve this thing. Okay. Unreasonable. That is the key. Unreasonable expectations, because there are sometimes that we do deserve, when we put in the work, we do deserve because we have worked hard for a thing. But this is saying unreasonable expectations or of especially favorable treatment. So they feel like they should get special treatment, and that's an unreasonable sense of favorable treatment. Okay. And then they also expect compliance with their expectations. That's a big one. I experienced that. It's like whatever the person who has MPD, it should go in their direction. So typically, someone with MPD is very rigid, very rigid. And so on Friday, we're going to talk about um, why a person, not why, but ways that a person could develop NPD. Also, how you could be on the other side of MPD, different things you have gone through in life. So we'll do that on Friday. But right now, I'm just giving you the tenets of MPD. Okay. So expectations, expecting you to do as they have said. Because again, lack of empathy, it's all about them. It's not inclusive of anybody else but themselves. Okay. Number 6 is interpersonally exploitative. And that means they do what they have to do to get what they want. And sometimes that can be, it's definitely to the detriment of whoever is in their lives. It can be to their children, it can be to their parents, it will be to anyone, because the person with narcissistic personality disorder they seek after what they need only. And so if that means it's going to cause damage to somebody else around them, they have no empathy, so they're not going to care about that. I need this, so I'm going to do whatever it is that I need to do to get what I need. That's what that means. Number 6, interpersonally exploitative. And if you exploit somebody, that means that, yeah, you basically will do anything. It could be something very damaging. I'll put that person out there so that I can gain from putting them out there, right? It's if I'm going to get a benefit from it, I throw you out there and you can look however, but I'm going to look good. Okay. Number 7, lacks empathy, plain and simple. They lack empathy. They can't empathize with anybody else. They can't see themselves or see how they impact somebody else. Is unwilling to recognize, is unwilling. So they won't recognize or identify with the feelings and needs of others. So if I'm gonna keep going, is unwilling to recognize or identify with the feelings and needs of others. So, you have a crowd around you, and people, maybe somebody is going through something, and that person is talking, and then the conversation turns around back to you, and you want everybody to start paying attention to you. It keeps coming back. It's a circular thing. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute as well. It keeps coming back to yourself. You don't care what nobody else is saying, what they are going through. They could be sick, and you may say something very crass that you shouldn't say, like, I mean, ooh, I thank God for my health. you know, and that person over there is sick. No empathy, has no clue. You just threw something out there that you should have kept your mouth closed. It's not helpful. But again, all they think about is themselves. And so, you may see a lot of things fly out their mouth. A lot of things may come out their mouth because it's all about them, instead of being able to pour into somebody else. Number 8, excuse me, I'm sorry, is often envious, which means desiring to possess what belongs to someone else. So oftentimes they desire what someone else has, or they believe that they're so great that everybody wants what they got. I just have all these things, or I'm this grandiose, this great, this intelligent, this genius that everybody wants what I have. Okay, so often envious. You will see envy, and envy can come across in some sly and subtle ways through comments, right? If they're making these subtle and slick comments, your little business, or oh girl, you heard how I said that? Oh girl. It's like condescending praise. You're calling yourself giving them accolades, but yet it's condescending in your tone. That's how envy can hide. Okay. And number 9 shows arrogance, very cocky, full of self, prideful, and superior. Yes. So it says shows arrogant, haughty behaviors and attitudes, very cocky, full of self, prideful, and superior. It's always the but, honey, when they put that but in there, or they say that little, girl, that little business. What you mean? What you trying to say, sis? Oh, that's another one. Sis. You can hide behind a sis too, because everybody who's saying sis ain't your sis, right? Some people is a snake, honey. All right. So that was number 9. So that's just for you to pay attention to yourself, to look at if any of these came up for y'all, and some came up for me. So just know we all have work. So whatever came up for you, that is the areas that you need to work on. It's not about a diagnosis. I'm not here to diagnose you. Your therapist may have to diagnose you because they need to get paid, but it's not about the diagnosis. It's about growth, right? It's about one, I'm going to say it's a good thing if you can see yourself in any of these. That is the first step, right? I'm grateful that I was able to see myself in that, because that helped me to say that I do have some empathy, and that was a big sign for me that, hey, okay, maybe you don't have MPD, but you got some of these traits, girl. So look at yourself and do the work. Okay, we're going to look at a little bit more deeper of what some of these meanings of like 1 through 9, what you may see. So 1, you may see that their own self-esteem is enhanced. It's enhanced by an idealized value that they assign to those with whom they associate. Let me break that down a little bit. They are likely to insist on having only the top person in their life, the top doctor. Oh, they want to be able to brag. I go to Dr. So and so. My lawyer is blah, blah, blah. Or my hairdresser is this person who everybody is world renowned, right? So that they can brag upon that. Or I got this or that instructor. So they like to be, as I said earlier, affiliated with the best institutions or the best or the top people, because that makes them feel like they're greater, they're more superior. If I'm hanging with these people or I'm going to see this person, I feel elevated in my mind. I feel like I'm right up there with them because I can sit in their chair and they charge me $1,000. And so I must be great. Okay. So that is one thing you will see. Their self-esteem is almost is very fragile. So as I talked about earlier, right, they're going to come across as very typically strong unless they are the introverted. If they're the introverted MPD, it's going to be kind of hidden. You know, you're not going to see it as strongly as you will with the one who is grandiose. Okay. So their self-esteem is very fragile. Thus the need for admiration all the time. They're always seeking somebody to pour into them because their self-esteem is fragile, but they're going to come across as this very strong individual, okay, that they have it all together. May be preoccupied with how well they are doing and how favorable they are in the minds of other people, how other people regard them. You're going to see, you know, they're looking for how other people really feel about them, but don't really want to know how that person feels about them. It's kind of um, um, counterintuitive. If you think about it, right? It's a mind game. In their mind, they're thinking that they very favored, but they need somebody to pour that into them that they're favored, if that makes